This is the first film we ever made. It was called Pro Football's Longest Day. It was the story of the 1962 championship game between Green Bay and the New York Giants. My dad paid $3,000 for the rights to film the game. He was the first person in NFL history to pay for a tryout because really, that's what this was. My dad was hoping to impress Commissioner Pete Rozelle enough that he would hire him to do more films. And that's exactly what happened. The commissioner loved the film, and he convinced the 14 NFL clubs to kick in $12,000 apiece. They bought our family company, which was called Blair Motion Pictures, which was named after my sister, and we became NFL Films. So this is where it all began, with my father and a five-man crew capturing the drama of pro football's longest day.
This is Green Bay, Wisconsin. It is tucked away in the upper regions of Lake Michigan. In many ways, it's just another lake town. But Green Bay is famous the country over for one thing: football, as played by the Green Bay Packers.
Hello, I'm Bart Starr. I remember something Coach Vince Lombardi told us when he first came to Green Bay. He said, "Fellas, there are planes and trains and buses leaving here all the time. And if you don't produce for me, you're going to find yourself on one of them." Being Packers, we've never forgotten that.
The men who wanted to stay, they're still here. And let me tell you this, Green Bay is a great town for football.
Green Bay, Wisconsin, whose heart is warm for the Packers. From pro football's earliest heritage, this is the last of the town teams. 63,000 people live here, and all of them are for the Packers. New York City, population 8,700,000, the great city of the Western world, and the home of a football dynasty, the New York Giants. 13 times leaders of the East in the National Football League, 4 times world's champs.
I'm Frank Gifford. I've been in the league for 10 years. When you're with the Giants, you learn that football is a game of percentages. You have to pick out the other team's weaknesses, exploit their mistakes, and then you win ball games.
In fabled Yankee Stadium, the New York Giants, tops in the East, meet the best of the West, the Green Bay Packers. Don't let that sunshine fool you. This ground is frozen like an ice skating rink, as Packers Jim Taylor and Ron Kramer fast find out. The Giants send their own testing team aboard to see how the field will play for the Zigs and the Zags. It's raccoon coat weather, and the fans have come prepared. They're keyed for a great game, a game of football's fundamentals. The hard block, the rugged tackle, the tough runner who stays on his feet, the quarterback whose passes ride the wind to a receiver whose hands survive the bitter cold. On this field, you can take nothing for granted, not even your shoes. The Packers try cleats. Decision? No go. Answer? Ripple soles. For the Giants' Andy Robustelli, championship games are old hat. This 12-year veteran anchors New York's fine defensive line. Flanking him is tackle Rosie Greer, 6'5", 290 pounds. At the other tackle, Dick Modulewski, 6 foot, 260 pounds. The fourth man in this powerhouse is Jim Cabbage. He's big, fast, and agile. The Giants' Del Schaffner walks upfield with cat-like grace. Whose eyes are always upon him? The eyes of Tittle, Y.A., the take-charge guy. The wind in Yankee Stadium is blowing up a storm. The Giants hope it's for the Packers. And here they come, leading off center Jim Ringo. Number 64 is guard Jerry Kramer. Fred Thurston mans the other guard slot. Number 75 is Forrest Gregg. Bob Skoransky is the other offensive tackle. The tight end is Ron Kramer. Max McGee is stationed at the opposite wing post. Quarterback Bart Starr. Boyd Dowler, the flanker, comes next. Number 5 is the golden boy, Paul Hornung. And finally comes a man to remember, fullback Jim Taylor. A year ago, these two teams met at Green Bay for the championship. That day belonged to the Packers, 37-0. Now the Giant fans want revenge. The Giants will receive, but the wind, not Willie Wood, gets first crack at the ball. Willie tries the tee again, but finally the ball must be held. The kick is a line drive with a big bounce. Joe Morrison takes it on the 15, gets past one Packer, but then it's the end of the road. Tittle brings the team up to the line. The handoff is to Phil King, but linebacker Bill Forrester, number 71, brings him down after 4 yards. Tittle calls for a trap play. It's King for 8 yards. That's Ray Nitschke zeroing in for the tackle. But the first down brings the Giant fans up and cheering. Tittle fakes the handoff, then hits Del Schaffner with his first pass. But the officials rule that Del interfered with the Packers' Hank Greminger. It's 15 yards in the wrong direction for the Giants. Fancy interior blocking opens a big corridor for Alec Webster, who scoots through for 11 yards. After 2 passes go incomplete, Don Chandler booms out a 58-yard punt. Mickey Walker dives desperately to kill the ball on the 1, but slides into the end zone on the frozen turf. Listen to Bart Starr in the Green Bay huddle.
Blue right, 41 quick, on 3. Break.
The handoff goes to Paul Hornung, who shows no sign of injury as he knights through right tackle for 5 yards. Starr calls on Jim Taylor. He goes for a first down. Dick Lynch nails him, and Sam Huff applies the clincher. Having gone right and left, Starr probes the middle with a look-in pass to Ron Kramer for another first down. Then it's Taylor again, pounding around end. Erich Barnes is bowled over like 10 pins, and Taylor keeps going until he's shoved out of bounds with another first down for the Packers. Workhorse Taylor gets another call. As he tries to twist around, the ball squirts free, but there's no damage to the Packers because Jerry Kramer recovers. The Packers are moving. Starr flips to Taylor, who roars for 13 yards before Barnes, Webb, and Patton send him sprawling. This is rough, hard football, and that deep freeze in Yankee Stadium doesn't make it any softer.
4X switch on 1. Ready? Break. Now. Hey!
Let's loosen up. Let's go.
The power of Taylor is taking its toll. Starr drifts back for another pass, finds Taylor open, and the all-pro fullback is on his way. Just inches short of a first down, the reception committee drives him out of bounds. The Giant line stiffens, and the Packers have to call on the toe of Jerry Kramer. Jim Ringo snaps the ball, and Kramer's toe does the rest. You don't need the referee's signal to tell you the Packers are in for 3 points and first blood. Willie Wood is the man who kicks off for the Packers. Sam Horner kneels to take the ball in his own 13 and heads upfield. His blockers clear a path, and Sam makes 25 yards. Phil King carries on a left-end power play. The Packers' two Willies, Davis and Wood, escort him out of bounds. Tittle fakes a handoff, then drops back, looking, and finding Schaffner. Dell tries to outmaneuver Willie Wood, but Willie hangs on, and Herb Adderley comes up to make sure nobody goes anywhere. Giant fans scream go, and that's what Tittle has in mind as he threads the needle to Schaffner, this time on the left. With New York moving, we'll eavesdrop on Y.A. Tittle.
Right, slant, 34 on 4. Hey, two count.
Y.A. looks right but throws left to Phil King. With Rosie Brown blocking, King collects a first down on the Green Bay 16. Hungry for a score, Y.A. fades, but Ray Nitschke bangs his arm. The result, a high wobbler. The Packers' Dan Curry is there with open arms, a willing heart, but a bum leg. It crumbles beneath him, for which the Giants can be thankful. That would have been a sure touchdown. As we rerun that play, look for Nitschke's rugged rush and Curry's grab. Curry plows upfield, and Herb Adderley blocks Darrell Dess. With clear sailing before him, Curry is torpedoed by an old injury. Instead of a touchdown, he winds up on the Packer 40. But all the Giants coach Allie Sherman can think about is the touchdown threat that went astray. How did Nitschke break through? The Packers' go team gets back to work. Hornung takes the ball on his famous pass option play. Paul saves the pass for later as he pounds past Sam Huff for a first down. The handoff is to Taylor, but Robustelli and Patton do a high-low job on him, with Dick Lynch joining the party. There's no gain on the play. Starr goes back to the air and fires a pass to the 240-pound Ron Kramer, who makes a nifty catch and goes to the New York 34. The quarterback turns again to power, Taylor. On the pull-out guard play, Thurston lets a tackler slide off, and Taylor goes nowhere. Taylor doesn't like that, and Starr gives him another crack. He's tripped up by Tom Scott, with belated assistance from Sam Huff. Huff and Taylor have a few words, not all of them polite. Taylor's hurt and leaves the field. As the quarter ends, Jerry Kramer tries another field goal. This one from the 37-yard line is short and off to the left. Green Bay has to settle for a 3-0 lead at the close of the first period. In the icebox they call the stadium, it's bruising cold. The winds reaching gusts of 50 miles an hour chill everything. Now Tittle has to go back to work. Starting on his own 20, Phil King slants off left tackle and picks up 5 yards amidst a pile of Packers. Green Bay is looking for another ground play, and Webster obliges by slamming out 4 hard yards. Henry Jordan, the Packers' all-pro tackle, limps off the field for emergency first aid. The Giants go nowhere, and it's Chandler time again. A 36-yard boot. Elijah Pitts has plans for the ball, but suddenly the whole gang drops in on him. With Jimmy Taylor back in the game, the Packers use Hornung on the option play. He could pass, but again he runs, gaining 11 yards, half of them on a big second effort. Like a 1-2 punch, Hornung comes back through the middle for another 4 yards. That sets it up for Taylor, who cuts back over tackle. Once again, Huff and Taylor exchange pleasantries, with E. Rich Barnes applying the pressure at the head end of this tug-of-war. With the ground game rolling, Starr decides to blend in a little aerial. Boyd Dowler is wide open for a 19-yard completion. Baby, it's cold out there, and the Packers aren't making it any warmer for the Giants. Starr fades. but he can't fade away from Dick Modulewski, who flings him for a 10-yard loss. And Giant fans are jubilant. The time has come when Max McGee must punt. It's a 38-yarder. There's a host of Packers on hand when the ball rolls dead on the Giant 5. After an exchange of punts, the Giants have it on their 29. Tittle hits Phil King with a screen pass, but Jordan holds him to a 5-yard pickup. Thinking the Packers are looking for a pass, Tittle calls on Phil King. The ball is belted free by Curry, and Ray Nitschke dives aboard. It's 1st and 10 for Green Bay on the New York 28. This could be a turning point, and the fans know it. If they don't, they'll find out here. Twice Hornung has run on the option. This time, he has the Giants thinking that way, when he arches the ball to Boyd Dowler, way down on the Giants' 7-yard line. With the goalpost just ahead, Taylor goes ramming through the middle for the first touchdown of the game. He seemed to enjoy that so much. Let's have him do it again and retrace his steps. The Giants' defense overshifts, leaving a big hole for Taylor. Not even the desperate lunge of Rosie Greer can stop the league's leading rusher. This makes it 9-0 in favor of the Packers. Jerry Kramer adds the extra point, and it's Green Bay 10, New York nothing. The wind is still slapping an icy hand in the stadium as Willie Wood kicks off. The ball takes a bounce and lands with Johnny Counts. The rookie speedster thinks he's going coast to coast until Willie Wood jars him to the ground with a dandy shoe-top stop. Alec Webster goes tumbling over the middle for 3 yards. Tittle fades and throws an archer that Joe Walton tucks in for a 16-yard profit. The clock is stopped, and the Giants summon Chandler for a 47-yard field goal attempt. It has the range, but lacks the line, and it's no good. The battered, bone-cold Giants, their fists almost frozen into a clench, move into the locker room for strategy and halftime warmth. There's no warmth out on that windy field as Philadelphia's Cardinal Dougherty High School Band and baton twirlers march out for the halftime show. There's the cold for you and the numb faces of 2 pretty girls. But this is a big day for them, too. They're out to show their fanciest steps. In the stands, the Giant rooters are grimly cold. Coach Allie Sherman is all bundled up. And as we pick up the 3rd period action, we see New York's Alec Webster rip right through right tackle for a 12-yard gain. Tittle trying to get the Giants moving. Let's go with a 12-yarder to Schaffner. Jesse Whittington can't agree. He caught it inbounds. Webster finds a hole at left tackle and submarines for another Giant first down at the 50. Those fire pots are really flaming right now. But the Giant offense gets no more heat, and Chandler has to kick. The boot sails high into the air, past the Packers, and into the end zone. As the Packers take over, Starr barks signals and hands off to Hornung. He's dumped for a 5-yard loss by linebacker Bill Winter, and that Green Bay doesn't like. Starr goes back to arch a long one intended for Ron Kramer. He overshoots his target, and Dick Lynch almost makes the interception. That's a tough break for the Giants and their fans. So Max McGee goes back, way back, to the door of the end zone. Erich Barnes sweeps in to block the punt. The ball squirts away, and the Giants' Jim Collier flops on it at the goal line. Is he over? Yes, it's a touchdown. And this is what the Giant fans came to see. They forget the cold. Everything but the touchdown. With the aid of some movie magic, we'll analyze that last play. McGee is under tremendous pressure with Barnes and Collier leading the rush. Green Bay's Gary Barnes has a shot at the ball but misses. Here's a rookie who wants it, Jim Collier. With anxious heart and eager arms, Collier wraps himself around the ball. When it's all over, he has the touchdown. This brings the Giants within striking range, and the fans know it. Chandler takes his time and bobs the ball over the crossbar to make it 10-7 in favor of Green Bay. Their lead pared to 3 points. The Packers prepare for the showdown. Don Chandler's kickoff, a long floater, is taken by Tom Moore on the 4-yard line. Moore, said by many to be the finest second-string back in the NFL, rattles off a 29-yard return that jars the Giants back on their heels. Now it's Jim Taylor and also Little Mo, Dick Modulewski, who brings him down for a 2-yard loss. The Giant fans dig this. The Packers have to punt, and this time you can bet they'll beef up their blocking. Max McGee gets it away for 35 yards. Sam Horner fumbles the kick and a mad scramble ensues. Who's got the ball? Even the officials don't know. But one man knows. It's Ray Nitschke who fell on it. And the Packers signal that they still have possession. For Green Bay, great. For the Giants, disaster. Bart Starr calls in his bread and butter back, Jim Taylor, who gouges out 12 yards before Robustelli flattens him. Taylor is taking his lumps today, and the fans have a feeling that this could get personal. But who can tire of Taylor? Certainly not Bart Starr. Taylor responds by going up the middle for 4 more yards. Starr, with some beautiful blocking, has time to loft a pass to Boyd Dowler. The big flanker outleaps Erich Barnes. The ref rules he caught the ball inbounds despite the protest presented by Barnes. Green Bay's bench is up and waiting as New York's defensive brigade asserts itself, forcing the Packers to go for the field goal. Jerry Kramer's kick from the 29 curls up and over the bar, giving Green Bay a 13-7 lead. Starr and Kramer are welcomed on the sideline by Paul Hornung and Coach Vince Lombardi. The scoreboard tells the story. New York puts the ball in play on its own 20. It's Tittle back to pass. This is no floater. It's a bullet, and it hits Frank Gifford for a 6-yard gain. Tittle, playing catch-up football, knows what to do. Look for Schaffner. Dell snares this pass, but Jesse Whittington brings him right down. Yelberton Abraham, better known as Y.A. Tittle, is going great guns. He draws a beat on Joe Walton and hits him dead center for a good gain. Yes, for Tittle, things are warming up. Yat rolls out while waiting for Schaffner to clear. Willie Wood puts the bear hug on too soon, and out comes the official's flag. Wood protests a little too violently and is given the old heave-ho. Willie still can't believe it, but he gets the message. He's out of the game. The Packers are penalized 15 yards, and this is a sad moment for Willie Wood, who's played a fine game. The Giants go razzle-dazzle. Tittle to King, then King to Gifford. Then it's Gifford with a lateral to Tittle, who tries to hit King in the corner. The play is a complete bust, as Curry almost intercepts. The Giants are only 18 yards from a touchdown as Tittle hits King. John Symank and Adderley clobber King at the 10-yard line, but there's offensive holding. New York's scoring hopes are smothered beneath a barrage of penalties. The quarter ends with the Packers clinging to a 13-7 lead. Early in the final period, Don Chandler is brought in to punt. It's a boomer that goes 52 yards. Elijah Pitts grabs it on his own 21, cuts left, and keeps barreling up that side for 36 yards before Phil King cuts him down to size. Starr sends McGee on a slant pattern, and his pass is perfect. The sure-handed Packer pulls it in for 14 yards. Tom Moore tries the draw, but Big Rosie Greer creams him for a 4-yard loss. Jerry Kramer, who's been having a busy afternoon, is sent back to try a field goal from the 40. With the wind swirling in the stadium, the kick is short. Jim Patton has an idea he'll run, but it's only an idea. The Giants are stopped at the 5. Allie Sherman goes back to the phones to check with his spotters. Just one touchdown could put the Giants into the lead. But what's the combination? Maybe it's a bomb. Tittle pulls the fuse with a long one. But Whittenden stays step for step with Schaffner, and the bomb fizzles. But pass they must, and Tittle's 15-yarder finds a home with Frank Gifford. Gifford goes out of bounds, and the Giants are very much alive. That's exactly the way Tittle wants to keep them. He does so with a pass to Joe Walton that's worth 13 more yards. Tittle keeps the pressure on the Packers with a pass to Gifford. Herb Adderley jars him out of bounds with a bone-crushing shove. But once more, New York runs out of gas. They're 3 yards shy of a first down when Don Chandler punts. The ball goes out of bounds on the Packer 28. There's something hot on the sideline for the Packers, a hand warmer. The ground looks good to Bart Starr, who feeds the ball to Tom Moore. Tom, terrific, thunders around right end. Butts E. Rich Barnes out of the way and picks up 13 yards. Horning is back. He turns right end with Thurston leading the way. Paul picks up 7 yards, but that bad knee, hurting most of the year, folds again. On come the trainers, and out goes Horning. He leaves only inches for the first down. Taylor takes care of those inches plus 7 more yards before Barnes bangs him out of bounds. Tom Moore finds a gaping hole in the Giant line, and he dents the defense for 13 yards. Green Bay boss man Vince Lombardi gets the scoreboard fever. Bart Starr wants to go in too. He wants to pass, can't do it, so he tries the running game. Bart picks up 4 yards. The Packers have it at the Giants' 23. The bench knows that the right play could ice the game. No pun intended. Here's the right play. Pay dirt is just 30 yards away. Jerry Kramer kicks, and the ball finds it. The official's arms shoot straight up. The score, Green Bay 16, New York 7. It's all over. The Packers know they're world champions for the 2nd year in a row, and they like it. With the final gun, confetti streaks down on the fans. Some are happy, some are sad, but all have witnessed a gridiron spectacle. The Green Bay locker room tastes of victory. It's sweetest of all to Ray Nitschke, the player of the game. And to Bart Starr, field general of the champs. To Paul Horning, it's been rough. Jim Taylor can still smile, but he'll never forget this day. To Coach Vince Lombardi, this may have been the greatest game ever played. He can't be sure. But one thing is certain. This was football's longest day.
This NFL Films production has been brought to you by NFL Network. Watch the National Football League 24 hours a day on NFL Network.